Welcome to Optimality Insights. I'm Cali Collins, Chief Product Officer at Optimality, and thank you for joining us today for why Optimality isn't just another P6 replica, understanding the difference between scheduling and planning. So today, I want to talk about something that we're starting to see with some of our initial customers, and it's a great example of how familiar habits can shape how we approach new tools. As teams begin setting up their projects inside of Optimality, one of the first things they often try to do is replicate their Primavera P6 schedule. We've seen several creative workarounds for this, like setting up milestones before and after activities, or using the start note earlier than constraints so that everything falls exactly in line where it would if it was in P6. And I do want to be clear, we are aware of these workarounds, and they were built into the system intentionally because we know that some users have external requirements or clients that still need that level of control and mapping back to P6. But here's an important key point. That is not what Optimality was designed to do. So what is Optimality designed for? Optimality is not a replacement for your scheduling engine. It is a planning and work process optimization tool. And while it can absolutely be used for scheduling, that's not its core purpose. The goal of Optimality is to drive discussions between your planning teams and to help them determine what activities truly need to happen and in what order, where the real-world constraints exist, what must happen before something else can happen, and how to build a plan that evolves in detail as you go and is able to change and pivot when things change. So you start at a high level, mapping out your overall flow and relationships, and then you expand that plan into greater levels of detail over time using tools like the standard process library. So what is the power of the standard process library? The standard process library is one of the biggest differentiators between Optimality and P6 or Microsoft Project or other similar tools. In P6, everything is built activity by activity. It is static. But in Optimality, you can pull these reusable workflows, tested sequences, and process templates. You can apply them to different projects or different scope, and then you can customize them from there. That means your team isn't just building another schedule. They're building a living library of knowledge that grows more intelligent with every project, particularly when you start getting the AI tools reading and understanding your work processes. And that's what enables scalability, repeatability, and collaboration across the organization, things that P6 was just not designed to handle. So why does hard coding dates defeat the purpose? Now, when you start hard coding dates or manually overriding durations in Optimality, you're cutting off one of the platform's most powerful benefits, commitment planning. Commitment planning relies on the relationships and the logic within your plan to track how well your team is performing against what they committed to. If every activity is locked down with a fixed date, the system isn't actually measuring performance. It's just reflecting those hard-coded entries. You lose the ability to see how your plan adapts, how commitments shift, and how well your teams are keeping flow. That's why Optimality is built with auto calculation always on. So unless you add in a constraint or a milestone with those dates. Because the moment you start locking everything down, you're no longer optimizing, you're just scheduling. And our mission is to help you optimize your plans. So how do you integrate with P6 in a smarter way? Now, we know that many organizations, P6 isn't going anywhere, and that is okay. I've used it for many years. I'm a big fan of P6. But we designed Optimality to work alongside P6 and not compete with it. If you have a client that requires a P6 schedule, or you're working within a project that provides one, we recommend using those P6 milestone dates as your guideposts. You can import those milestones into Optimality and then align your planning flow to them, and then dive deeper within Optimality to manage that execution level detail. That ensures that you are staying synchronized with P6 at the high level while fully unlocking the dynamic planning capabilities of Optimality. Just note, this is a one-time import, not a continuous sync, and it's just to help you get kicked off with your new projects. Each import would simply append the existing data. However, you can continuously export from Optimality into P6, either through our detailed Excel exports or API connections into your organization's data lake. So if you need to provide updates in a P6 format, you absolutely can. But your planning and coordination should happen in Optimality, which is where the real optimization takes place. So let's think on reframing the mindset. When you're building in Optimality, I encourage you to take a step back from the traditional scheduling mindset. And instead of asking, how do I make this look like my P6 plan? Start asking, what is the best way to model my process? Where can my team add detail or clarify the flow of activities? And how can we use this structure to better drive coordination and accountability? Because that's what Optimality is designed to do, to help your teams plan intelligently, iterate continuously, and collaborate transparently. If we just mimic P6, we're missing the opportunity to evolve how planning is done. So to wrap this up, yes, I know the P6 style workarounds exist, and they are there intentionally, but they should be used sparingly and not as the default. Optimality's value comes from its ability to visualize workflows, optimize planning relationships, and drive commitment-based performance. That's what makes this such a powerful enhancement to P6, but not a replacement for it. At the end of the day, P6 defines your schedule, but Optimality defines how you get there. Thank you for listening to Optimality Insights. Again, I'm Cali Collins, Chief Product Officer for Optimality. And as always, if you have any questions or need help aligning Optimality to your current scheduling tools, our team is here to support you, whether through onboarding, consulting, or direct integration assistance. So until next time, keep planning optimally.